Now on CoastTV News.
New schedule changes to the White Marlin Open. What dates you need to know to fish and when to register. Early voting numbers in. What percentage of people voted early in the District 20 special election. Nationwide protest against the Trump administration.
This is about stamping down and standing up for our country.
Just one day after the president fired a head of a government department.
A Sunday summer's delight, below normal temperatures and plenty of sunshine, but also a high risk of rip currents. We'll talk about it coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Brandon Ferguson. Welcome to CoastTV News at 11. We begin tonight with changes coming to the famous White Marlin Open event. And these changes involve the scheduling. Organizers say due to offshore weather, the tournament fishing days are now being extended through next Sunday, August 10th. That's 2 extra days beyond the original Friday, August 8th wrap-up date, but don't forget, the registration deadline has not changed, and the last day to sign up is still tomorrow, August 3rd. And staying in Ocean City, the fire department says the bad boiler that caused the carbon monoxide leak at the Ashore Hotel yesterday was on the ground floor. And the 4 employees who had elevated levels of the gas in their blood were in a first floor office right next to the boiler room. Today, Ocean City Fire says the town is requiring repairs to the boiler and a third-party inspection, as well as the gas company to inspect it before it can be turned back on. And good news, those 4 employees have recovered, and the hotel says it's been back to business as usual since Friday afternoon. And the time is now 11:01, and we're going to take a live look outside into a busy Ocean City boardwalk and bring in birthday boy, First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobuono. And Chris, what are we expecting here tonight and until tomorrow?
Well, I'll tell you what, picture perfect. I mean, you can't complain about this weather, especially for the dog days of summer, right? We've been socked in oppressive heat and humidity over the last few weeks, and we have just been treated to some wonderful weather today. 78 degrees was our high. Anytime you can get a temperature below 80 degrees this time of year without any rain and sunshine is definitely a plus. See the record, 97 degrees. Temperatures across the area, we had a high of 78 Ocean City, 80 Salisbury, 79 in Cambridge. We're at 79 Easton, 80 Dover. Clear skies right now. Temperatures a bit milder at the coast. We're at 74 degrees, but note that dew point. Remember last week we had dew points 80s, upper 70s, just ridiculous humidity. And already we're down to 59 in Harrington. So we're going to for sure see some upper 50s, maybe even some mid 50s across western portions of Sussex and Kent counties, as well as the eastern shore. You can see those dew points, upper 50s to lower 60s, so very comfortable out there. And as I mentioned last week, we were in that very humid, the tropical range, and then we took a nice plunge on Friday, and now we are in that comfy dry range. And we're going to stay there at least through mid part of next week, and then we'll see some minor humidity work back into the fold by next Wednesday. Now we are clear through most of the area and pretty dry. You see a system across the Outer Banks in the Mid-Atlantic there, and we had rain that canceled the baseball game there in Bristol, but we have high pressure building in, and that's going to really dominate our weather pattern here as we start the week. Cool, crisp nights ahead. We're going to be talking upper 50s to lower 60s really for the next 2 to 3 nights. A summer's delight for our Sunday with plenty of sunshine, highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s. And as we go into the latter part of next week, we begin to see that humidity creep back into the picture, as well as a chance for showers and storms. Tomorrow on the coast, a gorgeous day. Now, the only wrinkle in the forecast, a high risk of rip currents. So keep that in mind if you're heading to any of the shore points. Monitor the conditions, follow the lifeguard's rules, and stay close attention to the coast and maybe not go past your waist. We'll talk more about the beautiful weather and how long it sticks around in that full 7-day forecast. Brandon.
Thank you, Chris. Delaware's recreational cannabis market is now open for business. Starting yesterday, anyone 21 and older can legally buy marijuana from licensed shops. The state legalized recreational use in 2023 and awarded 125 licenses through a lottery last year. For now, a select group of medical marijuana compassion centers are leading the rollout. Industry leaders say patients who rely on medical marijuana will remain the top priority.
We can't wait. I mean, we've been doing this for quite some time with our medical community, and we're not losing sight of the medical community. They still take preference, and we prioritize them when they come here. We don't want them waiting in long lines. But this is an exciting time.
There are currently 11 marijuana dispensaries selling recreationally in Delaware. And regionally, a Salisbury woman is accused of setting a fire to a man's home after a dispute over $7. Investigators say 55-year-old Janice Louise Oney argued with a man at his Penn Street home on July 3rd, demanding the $7, then returned minutes later with gasoline and set the front door on fire before riding away on a bicycle. Authorities say the man knew Oney, and she was identified on surveillance footage nearby. For the full list of charges and more details on this, you can head right now to our website, CoastTV.com. Early voting continues today and tomorrow for House District 20. So far, the Department of Elections say over 6,000 people have voted early, meaning over 26% of registered voters have already casted their ballot. On your screen right now is a map of Delaware House District 20. It covers Milton and parts of the Lewis, Harbison, and Georgetown area. Today and tomorrow you can vote from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Right now there are only 2 early voting locations at Lewis Elementary and Mariner Middle School, and there is no early voting on Monday. Election Day is Tuesday, August 5th, with many more polling places open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And if you're not familiar, we are having a special election here in District 20 because the seat is currently vacant. District 20 was represented by Stell Parker Selby, and Parker Selby missed every single day of the legislative session this year after suffering a stroke. Parker Selby resigned from her post on June 24th, and 2 women are running for the seat. Republican Nikki Miller, a longtime educator and former Cape Penelope High School principal, and Democrat Alana Berry, who founded the Brian Allen Stevenson School of Excellence, a free public charter school in Georgetown. Berry also worked on policy and budget issues under former Delaware Governor John Carney. And now to national politics. Demonstrators took to the streets in multiple cities around the country today to protest moves made by President Trump during his first 6 months in office. NBC's Vaughn Hilliard has the latest.
Tonight, another round of demonstrations against the Trump administration's fast and forceful actions, as federal officials launched this weekend an investigation into Jack Smith, the former special counsel who brought 2 criminal indictments against then-candidate Trump. Smith, a frequent target of the president's anger.
He's a deranged prosecutor. He's sick. They suck him on me.
Republican Senator Tom Cotton initiating the independent agency's inquiry, alleging Smith violated the law by using his investigations to hurt Trump's 2024 campaign, though not publicly presenting any specific evidence of impropriety by Smith. The U.S. Office of Special Counsel can refer potential violations to the Department of Justice. This is the president in a new interview defended his decision to fire the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics just hours after Friday's jobs report was released.
We fired her because we didn't believe the numbers today.
The monthly jobs numbers for July showed a weaker than expected 73,000 jobs added. The fired Labor Statistics Commissioner, posting late Friday night, measuring a vast and dynamic economy is vital and important work. In that same interview defending the firing, President Trump once again refusing to rule out the possibility that he would pardon convicted Jeffrey Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, after the Bureau of Prisons confirmed this week that it had moved her to a minimum security prison camp in Texas.
I have the right to give pardons. I've given pardons to people before, but nobody's even asked me to do it.
And when asked about a potential pardon for Sean Diddy Combs, the president said it was unlikely because Combs was, quote, very hostile toward him when he entered politics.
Globally, Ukraine's military says it has hit oil facilities inside Russia, including a major refinery. This video shows an explosion near a Russian oil facility today. Ukrainian officials did not say how the facilities were hit, but its unmanned systems forces specializes in drone warfare, including long-range strikes. Russia has not commented on the reported attacks. Since the beginning of the war, Ukraine has built a fleet of long-range drones that can carry explosives for hundreds of miles. Back here in the States, one person is dead after a single-engine plane went down on a neighborhood street in upstate New York this afternoon. 2 people were on board, and the police say a second person has non-life-threatening injuries and is expected to survive. It happened near Maplewood Park, north of State Route 104 in Rochester, New York. The orange single-engine plane crashed at around 1:30 this afternoon, and it did not hit any cars or homes on the ground. The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board are investigating. And we are just getting started here on Coast TV News at 11. A search for a suspect continues after a deadly mass shooting in Montana.
And if you didn't get a chance to enjoy the weather today, you have plenty more days of enjoyable weather to go. Plenty of sunshine to round out our weekend and to start next week. We'll talk about some unsettled weather down the road coming up.
But first, we have all of the top stories from Delmarva this week. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just 60 seconds. Multiple Rehoboth Beach hotels are now one step closer to becoming a reality. Plus, the 100th Chincoteague Pony Swim. There was a lot going on this week here on the coast. Charlie Sakaitis has a look at our week in review.
Monday, the Rehoboth Planning Commission gave the green light to the Bellhaven and Atlantic Crown hotels in Rehoboth Beach. The 4-story Bellhaven would go above the Candy Kitchen on the boardwalk. The future Atlantic Crown is expected to go next to the Atlantic Sands Hotel on Baltimore Avenue. Tuesday, jellyfish fears continue to be a story up and down Delmarva's coast, with more and more reports of stings coming in. And this week, the tides have brought the jellies down to Ocean City, where the Beach Patrol says they've seen a major increase in stings. Wednesday, a uniquely Delmarvan event as ponies charged into the water and made their way across the Assateague Channel to Chincoteague Island. It was the 100th edition of the swim, though components of the event go back much further than that. If you want to see all of the full day's coverage, you can find it on the Delmarva Sports Network app, though it is behind a paywall. Thursday, tent bans going in at Dewey Beach, while in South Bethany, leaders are also considering the same thing. We've seen similar bans already this year down in Ocean City. For more on what is and isn't banned, go to CoastTV.com. Friday, a carbon monoxide leak at a hotel in Ocean City. It happened at the Ashore Resort and Beach Club Hotel off Coastal Highway. Authorities say 18 people had to be evaluated by medical personnel. 4 of those patients were taken to a nearby hospital with carbon monoxide poisoning. For your week in review, I'm Charlie Sakaitis.
Right now, an urgent search is underway in a small Montana town where police are telling people to remain alert while they try to find the suspect in a deadly mass shooting. NBC's Kathy Park has the latest.
Tonight, a newly released photo of the man suspected of a deadly mass shooting in western Montana. Authorities say 45-year-old Michael Brown is seen here, shirtless and barefoot, fleeing the scene after opening fire at the Owl Bar Friday morning, located next door to his home. State officials say he killed a bartender and 3 patrons and took off in a white pickup truck.
He is believed to be armed and extremely dangerous.
The manhunt intensifying after law enforcement recovered Brown's truck, but there was no sign of him. Now officials urging residents to be on high alert as the search expands into the mountains.
We're doing everything we can to find and bring this perpetrator to justice. It's okay to go about your business in town, but please use caution.
Brown's background now coming into sharper focus. An Army spokesperson telling NBC News Brown served from 2001 to 2005, including a deployment to Iraq, and later spent 3 years with the Montana National Guard.
This is a horrific event that happened to a small community.
Shane Charles owns a sports bar 2 blocks from where the shooting took place and told us he's known Michael Brown since they were kids.
Mike was a great guy. When he was on his meds, he did have some mental health problems. And I do have to say that the mental health program has let him and our community down. There's been more than one person that has tried to help Mike in our community, but mental health program has let him down.
The FBI now joining local law enforcement to find Brown as tensions are running high.
There's no one out, nobody's walking. A lot of businesses are closed. Of course, people are on edge.
Shane Charles hoping the community can heal.
If you have had an opportunity to say something to Mike, what would you tell him right now?
I personally would say, Mike, come on in and turn yourself in.
To help bring peace to a shaken Montana town. Kathy Park, NBC News.
Still to come here on Coast TV News at 11, a Delmarva school board is under fire. 2 concerns in Somerset County schools drawing state attention.
And we're looking spectacular for those brunch plans tomorrow morning. Wall-to-wall sunshine. Grab the sunglasses. We start upper 50s to lower 60s. We'll be in the mid-70s through about noon, on our way to the upper 70s to lower 80s. We'll talk about some great weather ahead in that full 7-day forecast right after the break. Well, you can't beat this. I'll tell you what, beautiful conditions on the Ocean City Boardwalk. We're not wearing the air, so to speak, like we've been in recent nights this past week. I tell you what, comfortable out there. Temperatures 73 degrees, dew point in the 50s, and you can see those waves. We're going to be dealing with a high risk of rip currents as we push through our Sunday, so keep that in mind if you're heading down to the shore tomorrow. We're down to 58 Harrington, 64 in Seaford, 60 in Laurel. We're at 61 Delmar. Milder at the coast with the wind coming off that warmer ocean. We're in the lower 70s, but more importantly, the dew points. Look at that, upper 50s to lower 60s. Remember this time last week, upper 70s to lower 80s. Now winds have calmed inland, so that's going to allow temperatures to fall with the clear skies. We'll keep the winds anywhere between about 5 to 15 miles an hour along the coast. That's why that small craft advisory remains in effect through 4 a.m. Further to the south from Maryland down through Virginia, that's up through 6 a.m. on Monday, and then through the Bay, that's up through noon tomorrow. We do have also coastal flood advisories. These run through 3 a.m. due in part to high tide, so we could see some inundation up to a foot along those back bay areas. As I mentioned, that rip current statement, so we have a high risk of rip currents tomorrow along the Delaware coast, so you make sure you swim near those lifeguards and heed to any warnings that they put out throughout the day, and that extends southward, Ocean City down through Assateague Island and Chickatee. And remember, rip currents affect even the most experienced swimmers, so if you're caught in one, make sure you float, you call for help, and you make sure you, and if you need assistance, you call for and wait for assistance from those lifeguards, and make sure you don't go in above your waist tomorrow, because that's going to be pretty rough with those 3 to 5 foot swells. Now we're dealing with clear skies throughout the area. High pressure in full control of our weather pattern here over the next few days. We're down to 58 to 68, milder at the coast. Mostly clear and comfortable night. As I mentioned, that high risk of rip currents. Make sure you pack the sunscreen, even though it's cooler. Still dealing with that strong sun and those waves at 3 to 5 feet. Now inland tomorrow we're at 80, Milford we're at 83, Easton 82, Cambridge a bit milder there along the eastern shore, 80 Princess Anne, we're at 79 in Salisbury. So there's the clear skies. Tomorrow we continue that northeasterly flow. Tomorrow night again we once again dip down in the upper 50s inland away from coastal highway, upper 60s along the coast, and we do it all over again on Monday. And then there's those dew points over the next 2 to 3 days in the 50s and 60s, so we're in that comfortable level as far as the muggy meter is concerned. We stay away from that very miserable and humid range until about midweek. We get back into that humid range, but the high pressure in full control, and this weather pattern is going to last at least through midweek. Plenty of sunshine through Chickatee and Assateague with temperatures in the upper 70s to lower 80s, and we have a big week in Ocean City starting off pretty nice in the upper 70s, and then lowest we're looking at temperatures generally in the lower 80s. Now rain chances, we see them ramp up a little bit through the end of the week, watching that coastal storm off the Carolinas late in the week. We'll see how far north it gets. Still kind of a bit of an uncertainty there, so we'll continue to monitor that through the week, but temperatures holding below that average high of 87 through most of the week.
Thank you, Chris. The Somerset County Board of Education is under scrutiny. That's according to 2 reports from the Maryland Office of Inspector General for Education. One report found legal discrepancies in the board's recent policy change on library books. Another warned that the failure to take action on any English curriculum by August 30th could risk losing $10 million in grant funds. The Maryland Association of School Librarians says it's following the situation in Somerset County.
They've known about it for a year. They've been working with this curriculum. They had a group of teachers and parents and everybody review the curriculum, so they already know what the curriculum is, and it's a good curriculum that the kids need. They just need to let the teachers get in there and teach so we can bring up these scores and get these kids to where they need to be so they're successful.
The Inspector General says there are 2 Somerset County Public Schools hearings before the State Board of Education in the coming weeks. That's for the removal of the chairman and an appeal of the board's previous attempt to fire its superintendent. Coming up, a new rule for high school, what class Delawareans will have to take before graduation if a bill is signed into law. A new bill will require Delaware high schoolers to take a financial literacy class. Sponsored by Oak Orchard Representative Jeff Holofsky, the bill requires that at least half credit in financial literacy by graduation. It would apply to the freshman class beginning in 2026. According to Holofsky, the bill is expected to be signed into law shortly. 4 more women will be joining the Delaware Women's Hall of Fame. Governor Meyer's inductees include Valerie Biden Owens, Joe Biden's sister and the chair of the Biden Institute, Claire D. Matias, who has been a senior advisor to 3 Delaware governors and held multiple cabinet positions, Charlotte King, the founder of the Southern Delaware Alliance for Racial Justice, and Charlotte Miller Lacey, founder of the I Am My Sister's Keeper, a mentoring program for young girls. And after the break here on Coast TV News at 11, as we take a live look into a beautiful Ocean City night, we have a final check on your forecast. It's the perfect weekend to bring home a new friend. The Brandywine Valley SPCA is waiving all adoption fees today and tomorrow, and this is at all locations here on Delmarva. There are Brandywine SPCAs in Georgetown and Dover.
And it is a beautiful night out there. Temperatures falling into the upper 50s to lower 60s. We're at 62 in Salisbury. See those clear skies, and that's one of those areas that we could definitely see a 58, 59 degree overnight low temperature. We're at 79 to 83 at the coast. Inland, generally in the lower 80s under mostly sunny skies. Again, watch out for that high risk of rip currents at the coast. You can get your forecast anytime by dialing the First Alert Weather Phone, sponsored by Brockstead, Mundalis, Federico. Your 10-day forecast shows another overnight low, upper 50s to lower 60s going into Monday. Plenty of sunshine, low humidity, very comfortable, at least through Wednesday. Then we'll creep the humidity up a bit as we go into Wednesday, and then Thursday we watch for a chance of some scattered showers and even a rumble of thunder. Thursday and Friday we'll have to monitor that coastal system to our south, how that behaves and how far north it pushes. And then you see those 90s making a return towards the tail end of that 10-day forecast.
Thank you, Chris. You just saying 60 and just put my brain in a blender. Thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app and be sure to tune in tomorrow night at 6 and 11 for the latest news. SNL starts right now. Have a great night.